blowback in the media, so people who are just programmed to think that only things that are in the media are important, they just let it slide. And there wasn't even any blowback on Fox News because they didn't want to support someone on the left.
Yeah.
There wasn't even anybody on the right that said, hey, what the fuck is this? And I think they made a mistake there. And I think, just as an American, there should be certain rules and certain lines you don't cross. When you want to call a person who's, by the way, active duty, right?
Yes.
She still deploys.
Yes.
She FaceTimed me with some soldiers just a few days ago. It was like a week ago. We were talking on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
She's still active, and she is impeccable. I mean, they couldn't find anything about her. They tried, man. They tried to dig up. And so what do? They try to smear her name by saying a Russian asset. Look, if you think that Russia would rather have her in place than Hillary Clinton or all these other fucking lifelong politicians, that's a hilarious notion.
Hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, and she was one of the only people, because I've been asked this question a lot, right? She was one of the only Democrats to vote down a piece of legislation that was going to require the VA to hand over medical records from veterans when you're doing a background check for firearms. I was like, that is a huge mistake, because a lot of people that I know have anxiety issues. They have issues that are directly from the war, but it wouldn't prevent them from owning a firearm. Now, when you have the government and bureaucrats making decisions as to who can or can't own a firearm based on a perceived medical condition, that's a super slippery slope. She voted that down, and there's so many different things that make her a good leader and a good representative specifically for Hawaii or for the veteran community, that even though I don't agree with everything she has politically, I don't agree with Dan Crenshaw 100% of the time either, but I do consider him a friend. I respect his opinion, but I don't have to agree uniformly with every one of these people.
As do I. I agree the same way. I agree wholeheartedly across the board with everything you just said.
It's like having a complex discussion and a debate, and then being able to disagree with people politically and also respect them and also befriend them. That's America.
It is America. Yeah. The idea that there's two sides, and there's a blue side and the red side, and the red side is enemies with the blue side, and the blue side's enemies with the red side. No. The red and the blue is part of the fucking flag. Here it is.
Right.
It's right there.
Yeah. It's right.
It's all together.
It's all together.
It's literally all together. It's supposed to be together. It's supposed to be, you can work things out. I have friends that are conservative. I have friends that are liberal. We're supposed to be able to communicate about things without thinking of the other side as being evil.
Well, and that's the crazy thing about the purity tests that each side wants to put people through. And then you have this chunk in the middle, which, I consider myself, right of center most of the time on most issues, depending on the issue. But you have this purity test that the extremes always want to put everybody through, right? And it's crazy to me. It's a fictional narrative where people will agree in total with everything the far left or the far right will do. And then to a certain degree, I think you have those extremes holding the center hostage in America because they're loud, right? They're kind of loud and a little bit obnoxious, and everybody's like, oh man, that's like that weirdo that comes to your Thanksgiving party. You're like, dude, I don't really like that guy, but I mean, he's there. I guess I got to tolerate him for a while, which is probably a bad analogy, but the center, in the broad percentage of Americans, we just love the country. We respect our families. We go to work. We can politely disagree. And we can have a complex discussion about issues. And hopefully two or multiple parties will come away with a greater understanding of the way that this person thinks, and maybe respect or politely disagree or not respect that person's opinion. But I think that's what makes this country so incredible. In my neighborhood, for instance, my neighborhoods are my neighbors are very liberal, and all of our kids play together. Like we were having this Halloween party and we were talking, right? We were talking about guns and politics and a bunch of other shit, which is never a good discussion depending on how this is going. But I was like, yeah, man, like I'm putting in a generator in the house and putting in some solar panels, and, because I want to make sure that if something happens, my family still has power. So I have redundancy, because some would call you a prepper, but I'm just a guy that likes redundancy. And my neighbors were like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Where'd you get that generator? Like, who's the solar panel company that you're working with? And then we started talking about firearms. Well, they're very liberal, and they were talking about firearms, and like, hey, so things are kind of sketchy, like things are kind of sketchy. What kind of firearms do you guys like own or whatever? I'm like, hey man, are you looking for one? Like, oh no, I'm just wondering out of curiosity. I was like, yeah, but if you go and get some training and you can legally own and possess a firearm, like I think it's a great thing. And they're like, yeah, I actually agree with that. It took me about 2 seconds of inarticulate debate to be like, yeah, I think a firearm's a good idea. Like, they're just like, that's a really good idea.
Don't you think that changed during the pandemic?
That's one of the things that really accelerated it.
The lines outside the gun stores in LA were hilarious. I'd be driving by going, you're a little late. You guys should have been here years ago.
I got a pallet of ammo. One of my best investments I've ever made.
Yeah.
And
I have had more than one person ask to borrow a gun.
Oh, yeah.
Guys who I was friends with in LA. And I've had other friends that they said the same thing happened to them. Like, liberal friends were asking to borrow guns from them.
I have a text string on my phone, which is like one of the most fucking funny text strings you'll ever read. I'll pull it up if I can later. So it's one of my friends that's holding me to task over ARs. He's like, this is an unnecessary purchase. I can't believe it's in our society, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, hey, man, like, it's a right to bear arms. Like, this is a semi-auto. I kind of explained like what the use is and why I think that it's a justifiable purchase. And then he's like, basically, fuck you, which was the next text. 3 months later, as the pandemic's kicking off, he's like, hey man, I just want to apologize for what I said about those guns earlier. Which ones would you recommend for purchase? And I was like, hey dude, I can recommend all kinds of them. Like,
I've had these conversations with people where they're like, well, that's okay, but that's not okay.
Right.
Well, it's good to have, if you have a pistol in your house to protect yourself, that's fine, but not an AR, right? Like, they'll like look for like common ground. Like, what can we agree on that? I'm like, well, what is the difference? Like, what do you think is the difference? One of them is better at killing people that want to kill you? Like, what do you think why do you think an AR is bad? Because you have more chances to stay alive because you have a larger round or a larger amount of bullets you can shoot? Like, what is it about it that bothers you? That it looks like a military weapon? Like, what is it? Is it the looks? Like, what is it about an AR? Like, is it just the fact that it's semi-automatic? Like, what's the thing that drives you crazy? And it's a political thing. It's like ARs have been demonized in the news to the point where people look at a magazine that has, X amount of bullets, and they go, why do you need so many bullets? Well, you don't until you do. And if you do, then you're happy that you have a large magazine. Like, this is not that complicated. Like, if you're not going to use it unless you need to use it. And if you need to use it, wouldn't you want something that's the most effective tool for the job? If you have 30 fucking people trying to break into your house and you only have 6 bullets because you have a revolver, that's not good.
No.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're ever going to have 30 people trying to break into your house.
Dude.
But if you do.
Do you need 900 horsepower?
No.
No. But I like it.
Yeah.
Like, when you need it, it comes in handy, and it's also fun. Yeah, it's freedom, right? It's like, people ask me that all the time. Like, why do you like, well, it's Black Rifle Coffee Company, right? So why do you like ARs? I'm like, well, one, it was a tool in my profession for a long period of time. 2, it's my recreation. It's my protection. It's a combination of things that I love about that rifle. Like, it's nostalgic. It's directly connected to my DNA because I carried it. It was attached to me for over a decade.
Keeping you alive.
Keeping me alive. It's life-saving equipment. The name is an homage to the thing that kept me alive. Like, it was literally the wall between life or death.
Right.
And now it truly is one of those things that I find this, connection not only to, my past and what I've done in my past, but it's also, it's a hobby. I mean, I have a range, and right here in San Antonio, I've got a 100-yard range, and I've got a mile. I can shoot out to a mile out there. So I love shooting. Like, I've been telling a lot of people that I'm a projectile enthusiast because I shoot anything. Like, I don't care if it's skee ball, rifle, pistol, bow. I don't care. Like, I just love hitting targets.
It's fun.
With projectiles. It's fucking amazing.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
And to say that is like controversial.
I know. That's where, that's the debate, is to, like, even for me to say certain things like, I love America and I love guns, they're like, oh, you're one of those guys. I'm like, oh, you mean I'm in love with freedom, and I'm in love with, like, doing the things that are completely legal. And oh, by the way, I think you should be really proud of where you were born and your city, your state, and your country. I think it's pretty amazing. So the box magazines and round capacity, we kind of gone down the rabbit hole on these things multiple times. I'm like, why do you want to restrict what people are doing with no justifiable data that can tell me why I should not be able to have this?
Well, I think for a long time, people thought it was a preposterous conversation to say that a well-armed militia, like the right to keep and bear arms, a well-armed militia, like, wait a minute, you're going to overthrow the government? Do you really think you're going to overthrow the government?
Right.
Like, people thought that was really preposterous. But I think there's a lot of people that paid attention to what's going on right now in Hong Kong. And they realized, like, oh my God, Hong Kong was just essentially taken over by China in this really crazy open way. And we saw these massive protests. There's a meme that I have on my phone. Here, I'll send it to you, Jamie. It says, "Be the America that Hong Kong likes to think you are." Let me see if I can find it. I got it in here. But it's these guys in Hong Kong waving the American flag, hoping that America is going to step in and do something to stop them from taking over. Here. Oh, it's from my friend Lando. Here, I'll text this to you, Jamie. Unfortunately, it's a screenshot, but it's good because it's groovy Lando Venato, who fights with the UFC, had it on his Instagram, and I screenshotted it. It's these guys protesting in Hong Kong because China is taking over the country, and they're enforcing the same sort of draconian laws that they have in the rest of China on Hong Kong, which until the 1990s was a British colony. Like, be the America Hong Kong thinks you are. Like, look at that. I mean,
That's
guys.
incredible.
It's incredible. But they don't have the right to keep and bear arms. There's hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, in the streets protesting China's taking over. What if they all had guns? Wouldn't that change? And people go, well, that's not here. That's not us. Well, it's not here. It's not us now. But the thing about every single civilization that's ever existed, all empires fall. And if we're in the process of this empire collapsing, and I'm not sure if we are or aren't, but I don't think anybody really recognized that Rome was falling before it fell.
No.
I don't think anybody, any of the ancient civilizations that are no longer in power.
I think the sign was, I think you might even addressed it, was like Romans started concentrating on their genitalia, and that was like one of the signs. It was like, you guys are fixated on arbitrary items versus like fixing the state.
Yeah. They started getting a little too free.
Yeah. Okay.
They got wacky.
They got wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, well, an example, and I don't know if this is a great example, is, in Afghanistan, we're pulling out of Afghanistan, obviously, after 20 years, which I completely and wholeheartedly agree with, by the way, is, the average education level in Afghanistan of the Taliban fighter that we were fighting, I think was the equivalent of like second grade education. Right, and the average weapon system was an AK-47. And so when you have the narrative out there that is like okay, well, why is an armed society a good society? And the government should actually be, it shouldn't be in fear of its people, but it should respect the people.
Yes.
It should respect the power of the individual, and not that there would be any form of armed, revolution in any circumstance. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying an armed society is one that can protect itself from government overreach, because politicians and the political establishment, they understand the dynamic of power. And that's one of the things that I continue to come back to, is like this sanctuary of our ideology of freedom, which is, this is part of the American fabric, which is power to the individual and freedom to the person. When bureaucrats and politicians want to infringe on that, we should all be very skeptical of any power grab
Yes.
from the city, the state, or the nation.
Not only that, it changes what they're supposed